everyone, welcome to day 12 of Mrs. Lamprin's reading group. We're going to be continuing on with the one and only Ivan today. We're going to be reading pages 228 to 248. Today's a catch-up day, so that you don't have any comprehension work, but you do have to do your Quizlet. I would suggest using today as a catch-up day, to use it to finish today's vocabulary. Today's the last day of vocabulary set 4, and I would suggest starting on the last set of vocabulary, which is vocabulary set 5. I just think that it would be helpful. So that is my suggestion. Okay, so here we go. Let's begin. Let's begin by going through our vocabulary. All right, here we go. Word 1. Frantic, scornful, musty, incompetent, spacious, temperamental, dismay, towering, assemble, suspiciously, scowling, and soothed. Okay, so here we go. Let's begin. Page 228. The Ape Artist. I have new names. People call me the Ape Artist, the Primate Picasso. I have visitors from morning till night, and so does Ruby. But nothing changed for her. Every day at 2, 4, and 7, Ruby plods through the sawdust with Snickers on her back. Every night she has bad dreams. Bob, I say after I've soothed Ruby to sleep with a story, my idea isn't working. Bob opens an eye. Be patient. I'm tired of being patient, I say. Interview. This evening a man and a woman come to interview Mac and also George and Julia. This man has a large and heavy camera perched on his shoulder. He films me as I make tiny pictures. He films Ruby in her cage, with her foot roped to the bolt in the floor. Mind if I take a look around? He asks. Max waves his hand. Be my guest. While Mac and the woman talk, the cameraman walks through the mall. He pans his camera right and left, up and down. When his eyes fall on the claw stick, he stops. He trains his camera on the gleaming blade. Then he moves on. The early news. Max. Sorry. The early news. Mac turns on the TV. We are on the early news at 5 o'clock. Bob says, don't let it go to my head. There we all are. Mac, Ruby, me, George and Julia, the billboard, the mall, the ring, and the claw stick. Signs on sticks. In the morning, several people gather in the parking lot. They're carrying signs on sticks. The signs have words and pictures on them. One has a drawing of a gorilla cradling a baby elephant. I wish I could read. Protesters. More people with signs come today. They want Ruby to be free. Some of them even want Mac to shut down the mall. In the evening, George and Mac talk about them. Mac says they're protesting the wrong guy. He says they're going to ruin everything. He says, thanks for nothing, George. Mac stomps off. George, holding his mop, watches him leave. He rubs his eyes. He looks worried. Dad, Julia says, looking up from her homework, you know what my favorite sign was? George asks. Which one? The one that said, elephants are people too. George gives her a tired smile. He goes back to work. His mop moves across the empty food court like a giant brush, painting a picture no one will ever see. Check marks. A tall man with a clipboard and a pencil comes to visit. He says he's here to inspect the property. He doesn't say much more, but he makes many check marks on his paper. He looks at my floor. Check. He examines Ruby's hay. Check. His eyes are water bowls. Check. Mac watches him scowling. Bob is outside, hiding near the dumpster. He does not want to be a checkmark. Free Ruby. Every day there are more protesters and cameras with bright lights. Sometimes the people carrying signs shout, "Free Ruby! Free Ruby!" "Ivan?" Ruby asks. "Why are those people yelling my name? Are they mad at me?" "They're mad," I say, "but not at you." A week later, the inspection man comes back with a friend, a woman with smart, dark eyes like my mother's. She has a white coat on and smells like lobelia blossoms. Her hair is thick and brown, the color of a rotten branch teeming with luscious ants. She watches me for a long time, then she watches Ruby. She talks to the man. They both talk to Mac. The man gives Mac a sheet of paper. Mac covers his face. He goes to his office and slams the door. New box. Something strange is happening. The white-coated woman is back with other humans. They place a large box in the center of the ring. It's Ruby-sized. And suddenly I know why the woman is here. She's here to take Ruby away. Training. The woman leads Ruby to the box. She places an apple inside. "Girl, Ruby," she says kindly, "don't be afraid." Ruby inspects the box with her trunk. The woman makes a clicking sound with a little piece of metal she is holding in her hand. She gives Ruby a piece of carrot. Each time Ruby touches the box, she gets a click and a treat. "Why is she making those clicking noises?" I ask Bob. "They do that to dogs all the time," Bob says. I can tell he doesn't approve. It's called clicker training. They want Ruby to associate the noise with the treat. When she does something they want, they make that noise. "Great job, Ruby," the Reuben says. You're a quick study." After many clicks and carrots, it takes Ruby back to her cage. Why is that lady giving me carrots when I touch the box?" Ruby asks. "I think she wants you to go inside," I explain. "But there's nothing inside," Ruby says, "except an apple." "Inside that box," I say, "is the way out." Ruby tilts her head. "I don't get it." "See the picture of the red giraffe on the box? I think the lady is from the zoo, Ruby. I think she's getting ready to take you there." I wait for Ruby to trumpet with joy, but instead, she just stares at the box in silence. "I'm not sure you understand. That box might be taking you to a place where there are other elephants," I say, "a place with more room and humans who care about you." But even as I say these words, I remember with a shudder the last box I was in. I don't want a zoo," Ruby says. "I want you and Bob and Julia. This is my home." "No, Ruby," I say. "This is your prison." Poking and prodding. The lady comes again. She brings an animal doctor with an awful smell and a dangerous-looking bag. He spends an hour with Ruby poking and prodding. He looks at her eyes, her feet, her trunk. When he's done with Ruby, he enters my cage. I wish I could hide in a knot tag like Bob. Instead, I do a nice, loud chest beat, and after a moment the doctor retreats. "We're going to need to put this one under," he says. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I strut around my cage feeling victorious anyways. No painting. No one asked me to paint today. No one asked Ruby to perform. There are no shows, no visitors, unless you count the protesters. Max stays in his office all day. More boxes. I wake up from a long morning nap. Bob is on my belly, but he isn't asleep. He is watching the ring, where 4 men are placing metal boxes. It's me-sized. "What's that?" I ask, still blurry from sleep. Bob nuzzles my chin. "I believe that box is for you, my friend." I'm not sure what that means. Me? "They brought a bunch of boxes while you were sleeping. Looks like they're taking the whole lot of you," he says casually, licking his paw. "Even Thelma." "Taking?" I repeat. "Taking us where?" "Well, some to the zoo probably, others to an animal shelter where humans will try to find them homes." Bob shakes himself. "So, I guess all good things must come to an end then, huh?" His voice is bright, but his eyes are far away and sad. I'm going to miss your stomach, big guy." Bob shuts his eyes. He makes an odd snore in his throat. But what about you? I ask. I can't tell if Bob is pretending to sleep, but he doesn't answer. I gaze at the huge, shadowy box, and suddenly I understand how Ruby feels. I don't want to get into that box. The last time I was in that box, my sister died. Goodbye. When George and Julia come that night, George doesn't get his mop or his broom. He gathers up his tools and belongings while Julia runs to my cage. This is my last night, Ivan, she says, and she presses her palm to my glass. Mac fired my dad. Tears slip down her cheeks. But the zoo lady said maybe they'll have an opening there in a while, cleaning cages and stuff. I walk to the glass, then that separates us. I put my hand where Julia is, palm to palm, finger to finger. My hand is bigger, but they're not so very different. I'm going to miss you, Julia says. And Bob, and Ruby and Bob. But this is a good thing, really it is. You deserve a different life. I stare into her dark eyes and wish I had words for her. Sniffling, she goes to Ruby's cage. Have a good life, Ruby, she says. Ruby makes a little rumbling sound. She puts her trunk between the bars and touches Julia's shoulder. Where is Bob anyways? Julia asks. She looks around under tables, in my cage, by my trash can. Dad, she calls, have you seen Bob? Bob? Nope, George says. Julia's brows wrinkle. What's going to happen to him, Dad? What if Mac shuts down the whole mall? He says he's going to try to keep it open without the animals, George says. He stuffs his hand into his pocket. I'm worried about Bob too, but he's a survivor. You know what, Dad? Julia gets a gleam in her eyes. Bob could live with us. Mom loves dogs, and he could keep her company. And Jules, I'm not even sure I have a job yet. I may not even be able to feed you, let alone some mutt. My dog walking money. Sorry, Jules. Julia nods. I understand. She starts to leave, then runs back to my cage. I almost forgot. This is for you, Ivan. She slips a piece of paper into my gray cage. It's a drawing of Ruby and me. We're eating yogurt raisins. Ruby is playing with another baby elephant, and I'm holding hands with a lovely gorilla. She has red lips and a flower in her hair. I look, as I always do in Julia's picture, like an elegant fellow. But something is different about this drawing. In this picture, I am smiling. Okay, we're going to stop there for today. Go ahead and practice the vocabulary set 4 on Quizlet, and then make sure that you start working on vocabulary set 5 as well. All right, I look forward to seeing what you guys think about the book so far. All right, I miss you all. Stay safe. Bye.